Hey, I'm April.
I'm Bayleigh, and this is the Nestled Podcast.
Here we chat about how to help design meet purpose. Our hope is that you will find inspiration to live more intentionally.
So join us each week as we let you peek in our nest.
And as always, the door will be open. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back.
We're so glad that you've joined us today. I'm April.
And I'm Bayleigh, and this is the Nestled Podcast, and we are rocking and rolling in 2019.
Hey.
I turned 30.
Bayleigh turned 30 this week.
So
we got our kids back in school.
Yes. They're back in school. In a lot of ways, I was just telling April that the structure, that was my word for 2018, has kind of found its way into 2019 finally. So I'm starting to feel like we've got things going.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys, it's a new year. It's a new chance and a fresh start to have people in your homes.
Yes. And I know that a lot of people talk about at the beginning of the year. I've been seeing it all over social media. It's the new craze on Netflix is the organizing, tidying up show. And it's just a great chance to be very purposeful in the design of your home, the setup of your home, but also the intentionality of your home. If you have to write down a mission statement so you can kind of filter things through it, then do that. Whatever it takes for you to really make the most of having people in your home and having an open door this year so that you can get to know your neighbors and love on the people that are in your life.
I think it's probably a good time to go back and listen to Wynn's episode where she talks about doing a family mission statement for your home. I think I need to do that.
Yeah.
Go back and listen and just refresh some things. So, yeah, that's a great idea. Also, if you're someone who has already gone through, like, the purging process, if you see friends talking about that they're doing it now that they've watched the show, encourage them. Because we all know it feels so much better once it's done.
Well, and when you're in the thick of it, it's so overwhelming.
Yes.
We've been having pretty regular conversations as we've been trying to get to that point. And it's even helpful to just say, like, look, this is working for us. You know, some of the things that I've been trying, new ways of helping my kids keep chores done and that kind of thing. And I'm, like, telling Bayleigh, like, okay, this seems to be working. And so it's like, maybe we can do that. So
yeah, I'm going to try now, from April's suggestion, to get everyone to do, like, the cleanup stuff in the afternoon instead of at night whenever they're done. Or what I've been doing, which is in the morning after I drop everyone off at school, because I'm like, this is not my mess. Why am I every morning cleaning it up? Yeah. And so, yeah, share with others. It really, really helps. Also, use the hashtag Where I Nestle.
Where I Nestle, so we can see.
So we can see that progress that y'all have been making.
And we're excited. We're getting settled into our house, so we're going to be sharing some of my new house soon.
It looks so good.
We're getting there. And you guys have been so encouraging to me in my pursuit of not purchasing things for my house. And my Aunt Shirley just said she might give me a chair for my corner.
See, be impatient.
That housemate can do. So, you know.
And we actually had just said, like, an hour before, like, if you just hold off, you'll find the right thing on clearance or the right thing someone is going to give away. And lo and behold, an hour later, it was like, oh, I don't know what to do with this yellow chair.
I have a perfect corner for a yellow chair.
Oh, the other thing that's exciting in January is it kicks back off The Bachelor.
The Bachelor started, and if you're not a Bachelor fan, we're going to be done with this in like 30 seconds, so hang in there.
So a lot of y'all know that we get together with girls for The Bachelor every week, and even if you didn't do it last week for the premiere, if you watch the show, seriously invite people over. It has been the easiest way to get people into my home. And, I mean, I have a small home. I'm going to post a picture this week to show you guys what it looks like when 10 grown women are sitting around in my tiny living room, because it is quite a sight.
Yes.
But it's so neat because I can't think of any other situation where I have such a diverse group of girls in terms of, like, age and life stage or whatever that are coming together, and it's so much fun.
It is. And it's just an easy invite, and it's an easy yes for people who might be a little intimidated to come into your home under other circumstances. So use this opportunity, if you're a Bachelor watcher, to do that this season. And also, if you're not, then
Find
something else. If it's a show or if it's a book that you're reading and you want to start a book club if you're not much of a TV person. And another thing, like, find things going on in your community. It doesn't always have to be your home to live openly.
Yeah.
We talked about that with Jen Schmidt about just opening the door, but sometimes hospitality is on the go. We have a friend who's doing some comedy in Mobile, and if you're in Mobile, you should check that out. But, like, that's a great place to invite friends and neighbors to. So.
Lots of fun. So, yeah, be sure and let us know what you guys are up to so far at the beginning of the year. Like I said, our hashtag is Where I Nestle, but you can also just tag us in your Instagram post at Nestle Podcast, and it just makes our day.
Yes.
You can also, if you really want to help out the podcast, leave us a review on iTunes. Even if you don't listen on Apple or iTunes, if you hop on your computer or on your phone and head to iTunes and find us on there and leave us a review, it really helps the show out so much.
Yeah, it does. And we really appreciate those. Every time we see that we have a new one, it's like happy.
And to the person who left the last review and said that we were really, really funny or hilarious or whatever the wording was.
I can't even tell you how much we appreciate that compliment.
I mean, I for sure read that to my husband and said, I told you I'm hysterical.
I've been saying my entire life that people just don't appreciate my humor, so
we're finding our people one listener at a time.
We're finding our people. But guys, just overall, thank you so much for following along on this journey and for being so great. I think that we have like the greatest people.
I know,
I mean,
agree.
you guys are like our friends, and we really do appreciate it. And if we could sit down and have these conversations with you face to face, we would. But since we can't, we're going to invite you in to a conversation that we had with a friend named Jordan Curtis. And Jordan is the other daughter of our little series last year with actually 2 years ago, now that we're in 2019.
Goodness, that's right.
Mama Nan and Bayleigh and Taylor, the ladies of Main Street in Lucedale. This is their other daughter who does not have a business on Main Street. And we just love talking with Jordan, and we want for you guys to be part of this conversation. So here's our interview with Jordan. We're so glad you joined us today, Jordan. Would you tell us about yourself and your family?
Yeah, so my husband and I, we met, that's how I met Bayleigh and April. April was my youth pastor's wife, and Bayleigh's husband and I went to middle school together, so we go way, way back. I used to watch him crush Coke cans on his big fuzzy head.
One of my children got that fuzzy hair.
Oh, man, he had the hair. But yeah, Ben and I are high school sweethearts. We got married really young, 19 and 20. Went off to Kentucky to school at the undergrad at Southern Seminary. Yeah, we've got 3 kids. Cooper, who is 7, Rayleigh, who is 6, and Chapman, who is 3. Yeah, we moved to New Orleans in 2015, and we're here helping with a church plant off of Immanuel Baptist Church in Louisville, Kentucky, which is called Immanuel Community Church here. So,
you guys moved into New Orleans. What was your motivation for moving there? Did you guys feel particularly called to a more urban setting?
I don't think we necessarily felt called to an urban context per se. We just felt called to, I guess, just kind of expand the DNA of what was happening at Immanuel in whatever capacity that looked like. And yeah, share the gospel with people. And most people are in the cities. There are just more people per capita or whatever in the cities.
You just have access to more people.
Right. I feel like a lot of times whenever we go and we speak with women, at the end we always do a question and answer session, and people always raise their hand and they're like, how do you handle parenting your kids and putting them in situations with people who are coming from hard places? Did y'all get a lot of pushback with moving with your kids to New Orleans? And just kind of what's your viewpoint on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think initially when people hear New Orleans, they think like,
Bourbon Street.
They think Bourbon Street. They think we're like skipping around on Bourbon Street with our kids during the day, Honestly, like, I don't think I've gone down Bourbon Street, but we don't go downtown very much. It's just kind of, it's touristy. And, New Orleans is just like any other place. There's people, there are norms that are probably a little bit more on the risque side compared to like what we're used to as far as alcohol is concerned and different things. I mean, people like to party in the city. It's just kind of a way of life. But Yeah, and having 3 kids in New Orleans, I think, is the same as having 3 kids anywhere. There are different, struggles and things that you need particular wisdom for. But other than that, I mean, I think it just takes wisdom in dealing with people who are not believers and people who are believers even. It just takes, I think, the same amount of wisdom. So,
yeah. We always tell people, look, our kids have seen things and heard things around our dinner table that whenever they leave, we're able to talk with them and say, like, look, now we know that's not okay, but we still love them.
Yeah, Bayleigh, like you said, there's always cases for good conversation that come from that. Because, I mean, we homeschool, and so they're here all day, every day. They see everything that we do and who's coming in and who's going out and who's staying for dinner and all of those things. So, yeah, it's really helpful conversation.
Yeah, and I would say the other side of that I think has been so beneficial to see as my kids are getting older is that instead of my kids like being shocked by sin and people's dark places or their hurt or whatever it is and being like, it's their other, they see these people sitting around the dinner table and see their humanity. They see they're being made in the image of God in the same way that we're made in the image of God. And so they can appreciate things about these people. And now, like, we're not identifying people by their sin. We're seeing them as creations of God. And so we can love them as that. We don't approve of their sin. But we can fully love them and accept them for who they are without it feeling like, I don't know, I grew up and I was so fearful of anyone other. It was like you surround yourself with only Christian friends, you go to church, and that's the people that you do life with. And whenever we have allowed our kids to see us and to be a part of doing life with people who are not Christians, they start to see and love people in a more genuine way, and not in a way of like, we love you because we want you to hear the gospel. And when if you don't hear the gospel, then we're done with you.
Right. I think it kind of cultivates like the spiritual pride in our kids if we only keep them around people who are like them and don't let them. I feel like a lot of the conversations that we have, we've had conversations where they'll go, oh, well, he's really bad. He's a really bad man. He did that to her, this kind of thing. And it gives us an opportunity just to share the gospel with them. Like, no, Jesus came for bad people, and you are this exact same. Yeah. But for the grace of God, you would be the exact same. So I think those things, open great opportunities. There's for sure wisdom that comes with that. Things like there's a new little girl in our street that we've gotten to know who already has introduced things to our kids that we weren't quite ready for them to be introduced to, but things that aren't going to kill them, things that when talked about thoroughly and helpfully, can be good things. And we can care for them and care for the little girl through our conversations with our kids and their future interactions with her. So,
yeah. I think it took me a long time, longer than I wish that it had, to learn the difference between acceptance and approval when I'm interacting with people. And I'm hopeful that by parenting this way, my kids will not grow up with the burden of not having that knowledge. Does that make sense?
Right, yeah. And I mean, like, when we moved here, so we lived in New Orleans for 3 hours. We just recently bought a house this past August. And
3 years?
3 years. What did I say? 3 months?
3 hours.
3 hours. Yeah. 3 hours.
We just got here. We're really excited.
Still unloading the truck. Yeah. It's been so fun. It just seems like 3 hours. That is not true. It's been really tough. But 3 years. And we just bought a house in August. And, with moving, there comes, I know y'all are big fans of Rosaria Butterfield's book, which we just did a book study on with our church. Really good stuff. In it, she talks about how God never gets your address wrong. So, just praying through, like, Lord, where do you want us in the city? Like, we know there's a specific house that you want for us and a specific set of neighbors. And so, in thinking through, like, life with kids in New Orleans, our neighbors and how that may be different than, like, in South Alabama or just kind of out in the country. The people that you live around may be a little bit different than the people that you would run into in South Alabama. It's interesting because, like, we have community group here every Wednesday, and so there's cars everywhere. We have a one-way street, and so our neighbors kind of have to cooperate with that. And we had lots of conversations with them early on, like, hey, just so you know, once a week, we're going to have about 20 people that come here. Is that okay with you? Like, how can we serve you? And we do have one neighbor who does not like people to park on his grass. And he has signs that lets you know that. Mm-hmm. And his grass is basically weeds. So it's quite comical, like why he cares. It's not like a pristine yard at all. But, you know, we're able to serve him by saying like, okay, we'll park, you know, we'll have people park in the parking lot down at the end of the street and walk. That's fine.
Whenever you said you guys have community group in your home, and I know that this is it's very in right now. And I don't mean that in like a bad way, but I think that there is this pushback from so long church culture was you come to the church building and that's where you do church and that's where you like check that box off. And so I think that the pushback in the younger circles was finding like this really inauthentic faith of like, well, I don't really know you, yet you're supposedly my family and this doesn't really make sense. And so there was this big like reviving of having people in your home and that kind of thing in community groups. But I think that community groups have the danger and the potential to then just being like the church building used to be, but now you're just meeting in homes. But there's still like this wall and people are not authentic and people are not really confessing sin and they're not really doing anything differently than they would do if they were sitting in a Sunday school classroom. They're just now in your home. So how do you create an environment in your home of openness and a safe place for people to feel like they can be real and that they can, that it's just an open place for you to talk and to really be authentic?
Right. I think one of the main ways to cultivate vulnerability is by being vulnerable yourself, just kind of creating that atmosphere and being willing to kind of embrace the awkwardness first, you know, and just say like, look, this isn't a game that we're playing. This isn't a numbers game. We're not trying to have the biggest group or have, you know, the successful thing happen. It's life or death. We're living the Christian faith and we need each other. When I'm struggling with sin, I need my brothers and sisters to pray for me and to help me and encourage me and exhort me and all of these things. I think talking about that is very helpful from the top down, like having whoever's leading the group saying, look, this is not just a Sunday morning gathering that we're doing in the middle of the week to make you feel better about yourself. Like this is a place where we're trying to cultivate a culture of evangelism to where like, you know, you can send us a group message. Hey, I'm bringing this friend who we've been probably praying for weeks.
Right.
You know, love on them. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to confess sin, pray for one another, maybe have a quick Bible teaching, that kind of thing. But yeah, they're going to be with me.
Have you ever come to a place in like community with people where when you are trying to confess sin and that people don't even really know what's going on in their hearts to even be able to like confess? Because I know there have been a lot of times where I'm like, here's what I'm struggling with and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, how can we pray for one another? You guys share, you know, and like really, and then it's like crickets. And literally people cannot even tell one, you know, it's like, well, I'm not really nice to this person I work with, you know? It's
right.
Like, well, what's going on in your heart, you know? And I think that there are times that people really, really struggle to even really know their own hearts.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of times people don't know themselves very well. And I feel like I get there. I get there a lot to where I'm just like, Lord, I don't even know what's happening in me. Like, I don't know what I'm struggling with. And I know that my lack of knowing what I'm struggling with is a struggle.
Yeah.
So I think like sometimes just being vulnerable enough to say like, I'm just in a whirlwind. I need help to kind of settle down and see. And I think too, just teaching and helping people to think through like, if you're not aware of your sin, you need to meditate more on the gospel, because the good news is good news for sinners. And if you're not aware of your sin,
then you don't need the gospel.
Right. Till sin be bitter, Christ will not be sweet. Right. Thomas Watson said that. So it's just kind of like this lifestyle training of thinking through your life and seeing. I think it's helpful to take people to the law of God. Right. You can even go to the 10 Commandments and go, okay, how have I broken each and every one of these? Like, what are the things that I've done that have broken the law of God? And just start there. Start confessing those things. It can be, you know, and there's wisdom. You don't want to confess like certain things in mixed company, there's wisdom there. But I think just being vulnerable to confess, being quick-tempered or things like that, greedy or covetous or envious, those things are, sinful. And it's encouraging to people to hear you confess, because it makes the gospel more glorious. Like it reveals your need for a savior, and that God was just and wise and actually accomplishing the plan that he set out to fulfill. So
whenever you say that we're reaching out to both the church person and the lost person, like, what is it that is so drawing for people who are outside of the Christian faith to be a part of something like that?
Gosh, yeah. I mean, I think everybody just longs to belong. Everybody wants family. They want community. They want to be known. We desire to be known. God created us that way.
We're going to love it or leave it with Jordan today.
Woo-hoo.
So first thing, because we know you're such a connoisseur of fabulous coffee, how do you feel about Starbucks?
Starbucks? Now that they have the blonde roast, love it, actually.
Good.
They will do a pour over for you of a blonde roast. Anything else, you can throw it in the garbage. It's terrible. The dark roast, medium roast, all of it is absolute terrible charcoal nastiness. But the blonde roast is actually drinkable. So
I heard someone say that they roast all of their coffee until it's burnt, so that it's a consistent flavor across, like, any Starbucks you go to, it tastes the same.
Is that true?
I mean, it's pretty dark. It's really darkly roasted. So burnt, I would call it burnt, but they may call it dark roast.
Dark roast. Jordan also roasts her own coffee beans. Do you still do that?
I actually do. Yes, I do. I'm hoping that my roaster will die soon, because I'm kind of sick of it, honestly. There's so many good coffee shops, and we're to a point now where it's like we have so much going on, where when I have to pull the roaster out and roast coffee, it's just kind of like, oh, come on. Just another chore, whereas it used to be like a fun, artsy thing to do.
All right, audiobooks. Love it or leave
Love
it.
them. Love them, yeah. I'm currently re-listening through the Harry Potter series right now, because my mother, who is so precious, God bless her soul, you all got to hear from her earlier. You said she was the most quotable episode that you've had, and that does not surprise me, because her life, Nan, I feel like, is just quotable, period. Her life is one big quote, sweet quote on a t-shirt, On
a hand towel. She gave me a hand towel last time.
God love her. House. She kept me from,
I said, this is so pretty. She said, oh, take it.
She gave you a hand towel?
Yeah. I was like, this is so pretty. I love it. And she was like, take it. It's yours. Go put it in your purse. So sweet.
I love my mother, but she deprived me, I say, from Harry Potter my entire life, because of the witchcraft and voodoo, or not voodoo, there's no voodoo in that. But, and if you're one of the parents that does keep your kids from that, props to you. But I felt very deprived once I did read the whole series and realized how amazing and good they were. But so audiobooks are awesome. I set them up for my kids in the afternoon so I can actually get some stuff done. And I feel it's such a great way to kill two birds with one stone. Yes. Like, you can do dishes and be productive in two ways.
Yeah.
Why not?
Right. Yeah, okay. I love that. Okay. How do you feel about video games?
I absolutely detest them. Well, honestly, I absolutely love them and would be a complete addict if I had them in my house. And my son would be as well. So we don't have them. I don't know that I ever will, at least while my kids are young, only because I know my personality and I know my kids' personalities, and I don't think they would go over very well. My kid would never want to leave. So. Yeah.
We have to be really careful with boundaries. We use ours like a board game. It's like put away and it's pulled out for like, hey, let's play video games tonight for an hour, and then it's put away. Because same, I have some kids that couldn't handle it. I don't like video games, but I know that there are fun. It can be fun.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to have video games growing up, and I was so jealous. Like, I wanted a Nintendo 64 so bad. But now I get it, and I'm the same way. I'm like, no, we'll never have a gaming console.
I'm just such an all or nothing personality that it's kind of like, if I had video games, I feel like I would be way tempted to waste time, and it would be So I'm just kind of like, you're just not even going to go there,
Because a lot of adults are totally addicted. Yeah. It's not just the kids. The adults are totally addicted. So it's smart
I would
to
waste
know.
way too much time.
Yeah.
It's mainly for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to know your boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, social media.
Leave it.
You left it, right? I mean, are you
I
on social
did.
media?
I think the same thing with video games. For me, it was an all or nothing kind of thing. Like, I just could not control myself. I deleted Candy Crush off my phone 3 times for the exact same reason. Like, I can't handle it. You know, I don't think it's a sin for anyone else or anything like that. I saw what it was doing to my own soul and was like, you know, I can't. There's no happy medium for me. It was either I don't have it or I'm on it all the time. And I just didn't like what it was doing to me. I didn't like what it was doing to my attention span. Just to my time. I was wasting hours and hours and hours and looking at things of people that I wouldn't care about in real life.
Last one. How do you feel about kid crafts?
I absolutely hate crafts of all sorts and sizes. Like, I love for my kids to do them. I love to have them in my house, like Christmas ornaments on the tree. I love that. And I love the idea of wanting to do them or of being the mom that likes to do them, but I am not that person. Mm-hmm. And I've tried, and it always ends up like just, you know, in mad screaming fits and messes everywhere. We did salt dough ornaments last year, and it was the worst mistake of my life. I used glitter, which is like, don't even buy glitter with little kids. It's the stupidest mistake. Yeah, so no, leave it. Leave it in Timbuktu. Don't let it come near me ever again.
I tell Justin all the time, one day when our girls are grown and there's no glitter in our house, you'll be sad. There's glitter all over everything all the time. It's like
I don't think he'll be sad.
No, he won't. It's like all the dress up clothes, everything for little girls. I feel like comes with glitter. When you've got 3 of them, it's just everywhere.
And we can put a man on the moon, but we can't come up with something that's glittery and sparkly that doesn't shed all over your house. I don't understand.
Right.
That was such a funny cliche. I don't know. That was just, we can put a man on a moon, but we can't. It's like an old man.
I am an old man. Pretty much, I am.
100 years ago, we put the man on the moon, but we still hadn't figured out. Yeah.
Remember when?
Have y'all seen those Geico commercials with a guy who's like, we can save you money on your car insurance, but we can't keep you from turning into your dad, you know?
Yeah.
His wife going, I don't know what's happening to him.
Yeah.
He's wearing like the tall tube socks and...
Here's some nice mulch, you know.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know what we need to do about the grass. So funny.
I don't know about the baby, but I can say with certainty there's about a 0% chance my first 2 are going to turn into me. Because we are fundamentally different in pretty much every way.
Yeah. I see so much of myself in our kids. It's scary. I only see my bad parts. They're way better than me in a lot of ways.
Jordan, thank you so much for coming on. It was so much fun to get to talk to you. I wish that we could do this all the time. We need like weekly Skype
We need
sessions.
a weekly meeting.
We can do that. I'll just put my kids on a movie and make sure the plumbers don't come in, and you know we'll do it every week.
Well, look, if we're not recording, the plumbers can come in, right?
Yeah, we don't even care.
Thank you guys so much for listening in on our conversation with Jordan. We hope that it'll encourage you guys as you move into this new year in your community groups and just in your community in general to be really intentional with your time and how you're spending it. We wanted to be sure and mention that we are currently working on our speaking calendar for 2019. So if you go to a church or are part of an organization that you think we would be a good fit to come and chat with you guys about some of the things we're passionate about, you can reach out to us on our website. It's nestledpodcast.com.
Yeah, and just click on the speaking tab and it will give you some of the topics that we talk about, and have somebody contact us through that form. We would love to come and spend some time with you guys and be able to talk to you about loving your home, loving your neighbor, and loving the Lord. Thank you guys so much for joining us and taking a peek in our nest.
We hope you'll come back next week. As always, the door will be open.